Okay, great. Thank you all for showing up to another meeting of the Santa Barbara Real Estate Investor Association. As you can see, this is really kind of the first meeting we've had at the Marriott. The last one was Linda August. It was 9 in the morning until like 5 in the afternoon, which that's a pretty, demanding event. It was a lot of fun. We got a lot of people here. Our meetings are much smaller. And I think this is kind of the perfect environment because we don't have other meeting rooms to compete with. We don't have a lot of noise from those other meeting rooms. We're the only place, the only people doing anything here. So it's pretty special from that standpoint that, we got a good environment, a good place to be. So I want to thank you very much for showing up. Let me get up our PowerPoint here just so that I can stay on task. There we go. Okay, so this is the main website, Santa Barbara REIA. Okay, long version, short version, all the contacts, and of course we are here at the Marriott in Goleta, California, off of Stork and Hollister. No parking fees. Parking's pretty easy. They got an electric charge station out there. I was happy to see that. Meetup.com and YouTube. What we're doing here is we're videoing this, and we've got Randy Frazee doing the video. He's been doing a great job. Hey, Randy!
All right, yeah.
Thank you for that. I've had my son Michael doing this in the past. Michael is now working at Best Buy in the Geek Squad. Imagine that. Another computer geek in the family, huh? I spent 26 years at UCSB and created an IT computer service organization in Kerr Hall. And a student of mine and I actually created UCSB.edu. Imagine that. People are going, what? What is Mozilla? What is web? We don't quite get it. That's okay, you will. Give it time. So he was doing the videos. If you guys need any websites, he's still doing that. If you need hardware repair, he'll probably direct you back to his IT location there at Best Buy here in Goleta. But Randy's been doing a great job. Got the videos up there, so if you want to look back at some of the stuff we've done, we've got years of videos up on YouTube at this site here. And then Meetup.com, I just realized, as we got this meeting going, that we had like maybe 5 or 6 people, and that was it. I was like, oh, I'm in a panic. What's going on? And I went back and realized that I hadn't even put anything on Meetup.com to let people know what was going on. And then also something else happened. I decided to quit having people pay at Meetup.com and have this be the free site. So if you're a first-timer, you should use this site to sign up. If you've never been to a meeting, you get in free, you sign up there. If you've been to our meetings, of course you have to pay $10 in advance online, or $20 cash at the door, or $20 in the same day. But you can always get in here free if you just bring a guest who's never been here. Okay? Now here's the thing. If you still pay because you have been here, I recommend that you go back to Meetup.com and sign up there, because this is what helps build your networking. People will look at you and go, oh, Taylor, I saw what you put on Meetup.com, and I understand you do construction work. I got this place that we need to, can you help us? Yep. Or you might find somebody else and say, hey, Randy, I understand you do some lending. I need money. So it's really important that you get up on Meetup.com because it's free, and this really helps to build your network. Okay? And it, helps drive people in, because you'll see all types of meetups and other places to go and things to do. Our networking from 1 o'clock till 1:30, we've done that. It doesn't look quite as nice as that, but we've done the wine stuff, and after we had a few speakers drink too much wine, and people drink too much, we said, okay, we're not going to do that. But we have a little bit of stuff up here, and actually, because the restaurant out here is closed on the weekends until 5, they're not really serving anything, so if you want to bring something next time to eat or whatever, feel free, you can do that. At 5, they will open it back up, so if you want to stay and get something to eat when this is over, they'll be open. We are going to cover some information here. We've got Linda Pliagas here from Realty 411. We've got something called Contest for Gifts. I'm going to explain that. We're going to talk a little bit about a free Google Home, okay? And then I'll get into my stuff a little bit if I've got time. Oops. And then we'll have Sensei, who's our main speaker here, from 2 to 4, 2:30 to 4. He's fantastic. This guy has been doing this for years, so you're definitely going to want to kind of clue into what he has to offer, what he's doing. Pretty amazing stuff. And then, of course, we've got a free table at the very back on the right-hand side. Anything you see on that table is yours. Take it. There's, old stuff, new stuff. My son used to say, don't put your cell phone on there because it's a free table. You'll be gone. Training, networking after this thing is over. We can go out there, to the restaurant and hang out and do the networking. Be surprised the level that you get to know people in an environment like that out there as opposed to in here, right? A couple drinks, a little more casual atmosphere. It's different. It's good. So, let's do this. Let's start off with Linda Pliagas. I want to give her a hand. Let's give Linda a hand. She has been doing these meetings nationwide. The kind of meetings you're at right now, she does them nationwide, every month, all the time. Some of them are 200 people. They're huge. So you really need to go to some of her meetings. I've met private lenders there that, loan. In fact, just let me say, we need money really bad to solve some problems. And he said, the least I do is $100,000, the most I do is $1 million. And you're telling me you want 150, are you sure you don't want more? And I said, well, I'd love to get $1 million, but I don't want to make the payments, and I don't know what I'd do with it, so 150 is fine. These are the kind of people that you will meet at her meetings. So Linda?
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
I actually met my personal private lender at one of my own meetings as well in Orange County in Newport Beach. And he lent me the money to do a transaction right here in the Central Coast. So the people that you meet at our events can really help you put deals together. If you need private money, we have that available as well. We work with several companies as well that currently lend, such as Patch of Land, Zinc Financial, Civic Financial Services. These companies are eager to lend their money to you for transactions. We are having an event in Santa Monica, California on September 23rd. We will have private money lenders there and investors from all over the country. Kathy Fetke is one of our featured speakers. She's an amazing lady who invests all over the country. She's going to talk about the best markets to invest in. We have Justin Ford from Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, with the Forex. Guess what? I'm up to almost $10,000 on Forex.
Oh my God, that's incredible. This is somebody who spoke at the last meeting here, so you can go back and look at the videos and see what she's talking about.
We're trading currency on the Forex exchange market, which is $1 trillion market, and I'm already close to $10,000 in income from that. I'm at 7,200 right now. So I have no doubt I will reach the 10,000 mark by the end of the year, and my goal is to go up to the $50,000 mark in maybe a couple of years, even if it takes me that. I'm in it.
Without being a landlord.
Yes, without being a landlord. It provides another income stream. I'm very much a landlord. I've been one for 20 plus years and I'm never going to change, but we investigate other opportunities as well for diversification more than anything else. So if you can come and, sign up if you want to join us. It's a free event, and we're going to have coffee, pastries, appetizers. Sensei will be there as well. He's one of our speakers. And please come back and get one of our publications. We have great resources in here for you. Thank you, Dan.
All right, thank you, Linda. Excellent. I'm not sure. I've got somebody here from Indiana who hadn't really planned on speaking here, but if you want to jump up for 5 minutes and say something, Gary, I'd be happy to give you this moment.
Okay.
This is Gary Guys from Indiana. He does a lot of investing out there. Thank you, Gary. Very spontaneous. He had no idea I was going to ask him to do this.
Yeah, I just called Dan yesterday to go to lunch with him today, and he said, "Oh, come to my meeting." So I'm actually from Ohio, Southern Ohio, and I have a lot of property. My boys and I and my wife, we've been investing for 45 years. We have a lot of property in Ohio, but we started about 8 years ago buying in Fort Wayne, and we have about 100 rentals in the Fort Wayne area, in the Fort Wayne market. And I met Linda, and I started coming out here to the shows, and so I have a lot of partners now that invest with me from the Silicon Valley, Napa, Sacramento, then a lot from the LA area. In fact, I have meetings tomorrow and this week, on Monday and Tuesday, with the investors that I have here. And so we have mainly single-family rentals. We're kind of changing that this year. We're going into, I have a resort that we're looking at right now. We're trying to finance right now a resort in Ohio. It's on Indian Lake in Ohio. And that's what I'm out here for, the meetings that I came out and I had talked to Dan a little bit about and talked to Linda a month or so ago about financing. So that's what we were looking at. So I come out here right now and I have a meeting with some financial people tomorrow to help fund this deal because that's what the banks will want. But I've been doing it 45 years. Partnership, meeting people, and working with people is the way to go, especially if you're investing from a long distance. You got to know the people you're working with at the other end of the stick. And Dan knows that quite well because he's in the Fort Wayne market too.
Yes, I am.
And so we kind of work together in there in the Fort Wayne market. So if you have properties in Ohio and Indiana, I've also gone and I have people call from out here that say, "Hey, I got a problem with a property, can you help me?" So I've helped several people from the California area with properties that they have in Indiana as well as Ohio. So that's what we do. I'm going to be here. I really don't have cards or anything I brought with me, but I ran off some little flyers this morning. So if you need that, you can stop by, and I got flyers back on the table. It's called Home Replay.
Yeah, and if you want to grab Gary and go out in the hallway here and talk with him, please do.
Yep.
Gary, I actually got a property from Gary in Indiana and worked out very well. He had it all fixed up really nice. We've got some tenants in there now. So Gary, thank you very much for being here and coming up and speaking. That's great. So we have got contest for guests. Who in here knows what a Google Home is? Okay. So there's actually quite a few people that are just kind of going, no, I have no clue. Never saw it, don't know it. Well, we got a couple things going on. Just to explain what this does, it's brand new, it's in the box from Best Buy. And you just plug it in to any outlet in your home. It doesn't need any cables, no internet. It just takes a wireless connection. And you say, "Hey Google, time machine, 1968," and it'll tell you that day news just like you were in 1968. Or, "Hey Google, would you put this meeting for Linda Pliagas on my calendar?" It puts it on your calendar. "Hey Google, would you play some music from Spotify?" It plays it. My daughter said, "Hey Dad, check this out." I walked into her place and she goes, "Hey Google, play this movie on Netflix." And it turned on her TV and the movie was just playing.
Wow.
You know, exactly. It's like we're really moving from an age of this, you know, typing and all that kind of stuff with computers to an age of speaking. And the big race is on with the big companies. Who is going to be able to create the technology that no matter where you go, whether it's your car, your phone, your room, the store, whatever, it's going to follow you around and know you if you want it to, okay? And you're going to be talking and doing most of the stuff by talking, okay? So that's Google Home. Very interesting. We've got one. I've had people say, and I've read that they've said, "Well, I've got one in my house, my front room, but I want one in the bedroom, and I want to plug and unplug it. I'm going to get 3 or 4 of these things." So that's happening too. They're about $130. And I got to thinking, okay, so how do we get more people at the meetings? The truth is, you've probably heard of Thad Merrill. Anybody heard of Thad Merrill? Okay, a lot of people have. He's got a huge thing going on, okay? Very successful. I'm sure he spends about $8,000 every time he comes to Santa Barbara, which is once a year, and says, you could do it. Come to our meeting. He gets a bunch of, advertising going on out there, and he gets a huge room at Fest Parker, full of about 300 people, and typically about 35 people show up. He's not doing anything wrong. He's doing exactly what he does in LA, where there's a lot more people, and he'll have 200 or 300 people show up. He's got the money. He doesn't care if it's a small crowd. But I've been to the meetings, and I know that you can spend $8,000, and you're not going to get a whole lot more people than we have right now. Okay? And this is actually a pretty good size. We might get carried away with this and get too many, I don't know, but what I want to do is play a game where you have an opportunity to, especially if you're new to real estate, get a sense of what it's like to get out there and talk to people, motivate them, and get them to take action and do something. Okay? Spending $8,000 for me isn't worth it. I'm like 67. I'm supposed to be retired, right? I don't want to work a lot longer or harder. So I'm happy with the crowd we've got. It doesn't need to be a lot more, but it could be a fun game. And, if it turns out that we get a lot more people, we just have to tone it down, because I don't want a room with 200 people. So here's how the game goes. Who in here brought a guest? Okay. Now, we're going to see who brought 1, 2, 3, whatever. Eventually, in meetings in the future, we might have people say, I brought 5, whatever. But if you're the winner, what I want you to do is I want you to come up here, and I'm going to hand you this, and I want you to say, hi, whoever you are. I'm Dan Ringwald. I run the Santa Barbara SBREIA, whatever plug you want to give yourself. And I brought the most guests, and I just want to Google home. Okay? What that is we're going to video that, and we're going to put it out there. Okay? We video all of this stuff. And we'll have short clips of you doing that, so that it will help build up you and what you're doing. And you get to play this game and go, hey, it's easy. I brought 2 or 3 guests. I walked out the door with it. But if you're, one of the most difficult things that I've found in all these meetings and thousands of dollars of, real estate training is what % are actually successful? And most of the trainers, whether it be 5,000 or 50,000, will say, I don't know, 2, 3%. And I said, the rest just didn't do anything? Yeah. I said, well, what was this big stop? I mean, what stopped them from doing something? Anybody have an idea what it was? It's fear. Getting on the telephone and talking to people. Very scary for a lot of people. Or just getting out there and meeting people. Trying to motivate people. That's business. It really is. It's making this connection. All this technology that we have in the future, where it's all done automatically, sure, it's going to save a lot of people time, but there's nothing like a connection where you can just get to know somebody. That's what people really want. Okay? So this is just a little game to play so that you can, do this once in a while, get on a video and say, hey, I won. I did it. And people will start seeing you as, hey, this person can actually motivate people. They're doing something. Maybe I should talk to them. So we had a few hands go up. How many people have 1 guest? How many people in here have 2 guests? How many people in here have 3 guests? Do we have a winner? Are your guests here? Can they stand up?
One's right here.
Okay, because he hasn't been here before.
And the other's back there.
And who's that?
That's Elizabeth. Does she count?
Who?
She's a future investor.
I see, okay. Now, as this goes on, there may be times when people come to these meetings and they go, that person wins every time. It's not fair. They just, every time they're the winner. It's not fair, Dan. And I just like to say, let the lesson be learned. Life isn't fair. Or at least the perception of it, or the illusion of it, because there's a lot of things you can say about responsibility, and we get into this whole personal self-development stuff, which we're not going to do. But, like I tell my kids, if life's an illusion, you'd better pick a good one, and you better go enjoy it. Why would you pick a bad one?
She actually goes with me when I look at homes. And
So-
she'll tell the difference between real real hardwood and, you know, the linoleum stuff.
Cool, very cool. She's getting an education.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that for her. It's very special. So Marilyn wins at Google Home. Would you please come up here and take this and then just hold it up and tell people who you are and what you're up to?
Hi, my name is Marilyn Wexel, and I am one of the owners of Prestigious Real Estate Solutions. And our basic mission is to help local communities to better themselves by purchasing homes, rehabbing them, and then selling them, increasing the value of the neighborhood, and helping the people out that need to buy the homes, that need to sell the homes. And in addition, we also have rentals, and we work nationwide. And I love what I do, and teaching my little one over there the business as well. And I'd love to get to meet you and to know about you and your business and see how we can work together.
Thank you, Marilyn. And do you have a phone number or a website or something that you can give people here on the video?
Probably the best way to reach us, because our website is still being tweaked, is 805-450-8500. That's 805-450-8500. And it's Prestigious Real Estate Solutions. My name is Marilyn Wexel. Thank you.
All
And there's my
right.
partner.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you.
That is so
excited.
cool. You
I'm
did
so
a
excited.
fabulous job.
Thank you.
Just exactly what I was hoping for. So thank you.
Thank you.
That was fun. Now, do you have one?
No.
Have you ever seen one before?
I've heard of them. I've never even seen one.
You know who's going to love it?
Yes.
She's going to love this. You ever get to the point where you go, oh, please don't ask me, how come one more time? This is going to be a
That's great.
lot
Thank
of
you
fun
so
in the
much,
home.
Dan.
Okay,
Thank you.
cool. So, how exciting. So that's it, you know? This is the game you get to play once in a while when you come here, okay? And when you get to digging into this thing, you'll realize, wow. See, right now, if you say, hello Google, call Geraldine, it would call her up, but it would say anonymous, you know? I mean, we're all trained to go, ooh, I'm not gonna answer that, it's probably some sales gimmick, you know, and they just hang up. Within a month, that'll be solved. And for people like me who have a Google Voice account, it's already solved, and it would say, oh, it's Dan Ringwald, and then she would answer. Okay? So it's really pretty cool. Okay, so let's move on, and let's talk about training. 30 days of free training. So anybody that comes to one of my meetings, within 30 days after that, you can just call me up, hey Dan, what about this, what about that? It's all free. Most of my training is free anyway, one way or another. Just because I'm not real big on charging for training. I see too many problems. I see a lot of people out there on the internet complaining about high prices they paid and they got nothing. And you don't know. You know, is it the person or is it the trainer? Could be both. It's hard to say. So I just don't really like going down that avenue. But, you know, call me up. Ask me questions. That's what I'm here for. Let's get into the businesses that I run, okay? And just checking the clock here. So I've got a couple things going on. Of course, you know, the REIA, we're doing this, and we don't really make money here. It cracks me up when I think about people who run REIAs, and they don't do real estate, but they want to make a lot of money in their REIA. Okay? Whatever. So the two companies that we have are NH Big Inc. and NHB LLC. NH Big Inc. is a wholesaling company to do nothing more than generate earned income. So as I went through, you know, like I said, I'm 67, I've spent a lot of time with our tax people in the county, and one reason why I look at rentals and I go, oh my God, it's an accounting nightmare and a lot of time, you know, to deal with rentals. NH Big really is an earned income business where any kind of money that's earned, like a job, whatever, consulting, can be run through this. That's why when you paid to get in here, it took you back to NH Big as a payment source. Okay, it's earned income, that's how I get taxed. But what we do there is we wholesale and we look for properties probably 200,000 to 10 million, whatever. We've had some $5 million properties, $5 million properties. basically, we are just matching up buyers and sellers like realtors. And I know Brett's going back there going, I'm still waiting to see this, Dan. And I'm working with Anderson Associates, and we had Clint Coons come in here and speak about, well, how do you match up buyers and sellers and not go to jail because you're not a realtor or a broker? And a very good video. You should go back and look at that because we had him here, videoed the whole thing. And I said, okay, so I brought you in here to talk about wholesaling and how you do this legally, but I had a hidden agenda. So now that you tell me that you have a process for doing that legally, can you tell me, can you still do that wholesaling on a lease to own? And he looked at me for a minute and goes, yeah, we can do that. So imagine wholesaling lease to owns. Now people that probably have heard some of what I'm saying in the past have thought, you know, Dan's just all about lease to owns, that's all he does. But the truth is, on a lease to own, if I came up to you and said, Catherine? Karen? You have a property right now that you want to sell for $800,000, and you're not really sure if you want to go to a realtor to do that because they're going to talk you down on the price. You really want $800,000. Well, with a lease to own, we can get you $800,000, what you're asking for, but not all people want to do a lease to own. There's got to be some circumstances that would make you want to do a lease to own. But the fact that we can give you the price you're asking if you do a lease to own is a good place to start, because all of a sudden she's going, you give me what I'm asking? You know, I'm not here to try and get that price to go down. I know Brett's going, well, Dan, I'm still wondering about how you can do this legally. The trust agreement is how you do this legally, and I've got a few more things that I've got to spend some time on to get that cleaned up and get that working. But basically, in all transactions for realtors, who pays for that sale when it's sold? Who?
Seller.
The seller, right. So the seller pays, and it goes to the brokers, and the brokers divide it up 4 ways if that's how it goes. You know, one broker gets 50%, the other broker gets 50%, and they split that up to their agents, so it gets broken up 4 ways. That's a standard legal transaction with the proper paperwork. When you're doing a sale like that, matching up buyers and sellers, and you're not an agent or broker, there's got to be a legal way that you can do that, and if there's not, you can be in big trouble. In fact, that's one reason why I broke up my companies, is because if you start doing lots of flips where you're not buying the property, you're just matching people up in an LLC, they can come back and say, hey, we're going to deem you a dealer. You just lost all your benefits for your IRAs. You might even go to jail. I don't know how severe it gets, but there's a lot of problems, and most people don't see that, because most people, when they think of flips, they think of actually buying the property, fixing it up, okay? If you buy it, fix it up, you can do whatever you want because it's your property, right? But if you're just matching people up, you need to be doing it in an entity that's probably not an LLC, and this entity is a C Corp. And what happens is you make a trust agreement, and the money that you receive is not from the seller, it's from the buyer, okay? So you have a trust agreement, and you're in agreement with the seller. You sell that or assign that agreement to the buyer, but it's not a fee, it's not a commission, it's actually a capital gain, and that's the difference. Because you're doing it, you're receiving money from the buyer who's paying an increased amount on that trust agreement. Make sense? Now, whether it's legal or not, that's a whole other story, okay?
Why not an LLC?
Because an LLC is not an S Corp, and it is an entity that's more difficult legally to do that in, okay? Now, people will tell you all day long, hey, I do it in LLC all the time, not a problem. Some people say, I don't even use entities, I do it all the time, no problem. Well, the reason it's no problem is because nobody's come up to you and went, we're the IRS, we got a question. When that happens, there's a problem, okay? And believe me, I've done it the other way, and it wasn't legal, but it was so few and far between that nobody really cared, okay? If you're gonna do it seriously, repetitively, then you need to do it legally. And Brett's still wondering, is $1,000 fee was for me to get the